Hello, and we start our show being joined by Rabbi Dr. Paul Schrell-Fox from the Schechter Institutes in Jerusalem, talking more about the meaning of Tisha B'Av and ways to help use this very somber event. You don't want to call it a holiday, but a somber time in the Jewish calendar to think about ways to heal and recover. So thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
And first I want to talk about, besides what we obviously know about Tisha B'Av, the destruction of the temples, just looking at the history and the timeline of all of the things throughout the Jewish calendar that happened on this day is really quite remarkable. What is it about that day and the energy that was set into place that these things have happened on that time?
Living in the Middle East, we know that summer tends to be a difficult time in general. Many horrible things happen in summer. People are out more because certainly before there was air conditioning, and certainly on my drive to Tel Aviv today, my air conditioning didn't work so well, so I know what it's like to be hot and tired.
And annoyed and having people honk at you.
That's right. And maybe they had donkey instead of traffic jams.
Right.
They had donkey jams, but still, it was still difficult to have to be outside and hot and at the time. And in general, summer tends to be a time where more bad things happen, specifically in an area like the Middle East. There's no particular real historical evidence that said that all these things really happened on Tisha B'Av. There are certain things that seem to say in the Talmud that these are when these happened, but there's no date keeping the way we keep dates as it was in the past. So the rabbis, in a sense, sort of gather it all together rather than spreading things out. We have some evidence, according to the rabbis, that certain things happened on the 17th of Tammuz, which was just the last week or a couple of weeks ago, and then also to Tisha B'Av, to the 9th of Av. But did it really happen on the 9th and the 10th? We don't really know.
So let's talk about the faith and recovery. So how, as someone that is also a psychologist, what are some tips you could give people that may be having a hard time and it's a time to really reflect? So how can people kind of go deep within, reflect on the somber, and kind of find some kind of opening for a brighter day?
No, but I think what the basic issue isn't faith per se as much as it is having a sense of community. So when you have you can imagine that you can divide the world into a couple of different categories: people who have faith and people who don't have faith. Right? People who have faith, they can also, if they believe in God, they have any number of ways that they can express that belief. Whether you can have an anxious attachment to God and a belief in God, you can have a secure one, you can have one that's based on fear, you can have one that's based on love. So those tend to have some type of relationship to whether people recover or don't recover. And in fact, if you have a negative attitude to your attachment to God, it seems to, in fact, impact negatively on your ability to recover from all sorts of horrible traumatic events. On the other hand, what seems to be true about people who believe or don't believe is a sense of community. A sense of community is what gives you the support in order to get through all sorts of hard things, traumatic events as being one of those things. So it's not so much faith per se as it is how you express that faith.
Right.
If you express that faith by yourself, then it seems like you're going to have a difficult time. But if you have a sense of community, which is also other supports, both neurochemical as well as emotional and physical, then you tend to get
and also
better.
having the sense of community to help. If you're someone that has the doomsday attitude, you get a sense of community, and you get other people to kind of give you a pat on the back and say, come on, the glass can be half full. So it also, I imagine from the inside, helps kind of transform attitudes.
Unless your community is all of the doomsday.
Unless your whole community is doomsday. That's right. Well, thank you very much. A very interesting discussion. I look forward to having the opportunity to interview you again soon.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Please don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break, but we have so much more coming up for you on Holy Land Uncovered. Stay tuned.